Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point. And thanks to our mother and our parent company, Focus on Liberia. I am here as your host, and my able and talented co-host, Mr. George Tulay, he's in Canada, relaxed and ready to go. The young man is brilliant. I love to argue with him. He presents the issue as it should be from an intellectual standpoint. Today, we have a couple of topics that you will be interested in and will love to be a part of. Those topics include our pathway or George Weah CDC pathway to victory. Hopefully, Mr. Tulay has a counter to how the CPP or the opposition can come to power. We are also following developing stories in Bassa or in the Bassa belt. There is a fight now in the Bassa belt. Who is in control in the absence of the late Mr. Brunsky, Charles Walker Brunsky, as the father, the godfather of the Bassa belt once 20 years ago? With the absence of Honorable Brunsky, who is now in charge of the Bassa belt? If there's a void, a legitimate void, we will explore that. We are also looking at the Liberian delegation to the United States. I know you heard everything about the delegations. I think some people said they were here to meet taxi drivers. They were here to see the lowest end of political power in the United States. We will delve into that. And we will pay a special tribute to a special lady, the mother of my co-host. He will introduce her. We have to pay homage to her. She had done an excellent job in educating this young man. And for him being so resilient for the amount of beating he has taken from me, but yet and still, he is still standing. Mr. George Tulay will say something nice about a mother that has been very kind, very firm, and a woman who has been very, very consistent with education and has educated this young man. So we will pay homage to her. We will also take some calls and some comments from you, but also he's a die-hard Lakers fan. So he's dying. He's dying at this point to go back to the Lakers game. And to some of us who are a die-hard fan of Chelsea, mighty Chelsea, we want to say congratulations. We are champions again, European champions. We are members of we are the top of the Champions League. So I'm going to let it go. And Mr. Tulay, welcome and tell me what's going on in Canada and from your end of the world.
Yeah, well, things are very calm here, even though we stay on lockdown. We're going to be on lockdown maybe until the middle of June. But they're easing some of the restrictions, all right? They eased a lot of the restrictions. Lockdown have been so stringent that even non-grocery items in stores like Walmart and the warehouse chains have been sealed off, even though you can enter the store, but you can have access to non-grocery items. That's how stringent our lockdown has been. All the stores are closed. You can only come outside and you buy online and go outside for places like Home Depot. You can buy online and then you go and receive your stuff right outside. You can't even walk into the store. That's how stringent our lockdown has been. But it's well and good because it's public safety, public health. These are public health measures that have been taken. So I'm glad to be here again on today. My mom's birthday is today, and her name is Augusta Lawrence. I got two mothers, so some people will be wondering, what is he saying? I have two mothers. My first mom, even though she's not my biological mom, but she's my first mom. Her name is Margaret Tulay. She raised me. That's my father's wife. She adopted me and raised me as her own. So people don't even know that she's not my biological mother. I remembered. I'll tell you a funny story. I know we're going to the show, but let me tell you a story. The vice president, Joseph Boga, his wife used to work at Firestone Hospital, and my mom worked at Firestone Hospital. My biological mother worked at Firestone Hospital. So I went to see my mom on one day, and then I met her. You know, we all call her Ente Katumu. Funny story. So I met her. She was standing outside, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I came to see my mom." She said, "Oh, it's Margaret. You mute. You mute. You are mute." All right. So okay, sorry. So she said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I came to see my mom." She said, "Margaret here? Margaret sick?" I said, "No, no, 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 not Margaret. Gus." She said, "Gus, your mom?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You joking, right?" I said, "No, I'm not joking." I said, "That's my biological mother." I said, Margaret Tulay is not my biological mother. She said she can't believe it, but she didn't say much. When I left, she went to see my mom. They asked her. She said, are you really George's mom? Are you the one that gave birth to him?" And she said, yes. She said, I would never have believed it because, yeah, we'll go to the issue, brother. Don't worry about the issue. Sometimes the show there are people in the show, so we have to be able to, give the show life. This is a very important thing. I'm just trying to share. So today, so she said, so she wanted to ask her, and then she said, yeah, George, I'm my son. And she said, I would never have believed you because I saw that boy with Margaret when he was a baby. So I would never have believed you that wasn't Margaret's child. Anyway, so my mom, today is her 70th birthday, and well, they celebrated her birthday. It was nice. I talked to them on Facebook Live, and it was a good day. So I just want to, appreciate her. She played a very important role in my life. Apart from bringing me to this world, she was there as a mother, one of the most heartwarming, heartfelt, kind, generous women you will ever meet. And I just want to say I thank God for my mom. Her name is Augusta Lawrence, and she's a great woman. So we will go to the issues now. And Jerome, I'm back with you. Your microphone is muted again. You're talking, but I'm not hearing you.
Yes, thank you very much, and happy birthday to Mom August and to all mothers today whose birthday we celebrate. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the issues here. I know to some of you out there, you think that I'm here beating up on the weak CPP or the weak opposition, and that's what you do. When you find someone that is weak, you beat up on them, and we will stick to the issue. And I'm going to be very kind, very, very kind. Okay, now here we go. In the United States or in politics, usually every camp has a war room. In this war room, we look at statistics, we look at issues, we look at numbers. And from there, we can deduce how we stand and what it looks like. Now, we are talking about based on the numbers. When we are talking about issues, when we are talking about numbers, we suspect that the opposition is doing likewise. They are looking at their own numbers. So what we are looking at in our own war room and things that we are looking at the pathway to victory 2023. And from what I can see based on my own number, it's going to be a first round victory for the first time in Liberian politics. That we are going to have a first round victory. And I'm going to give you my path to victory and let my opposition give their path to victory. And then we will analyze the two and see where we are going from. Mr. Tulay, I know you have done your homework, you have done your math. Do you see or foresee some path to victory for the opposition?
Yeah, I see a very realistic path to victory. And this is where I was laughing just now when you said you saw first round. Listen, I've said this to you, and I cannot say more than I've already said it, Mr. Gayman. I love you. I respect you, my big brother. I know sometimes you can be a racist. A serious racist against me, but I accept it. I'm not. I mean, that's why I love you because you are you are amiable. You somebody who you easy to get around, even though I don't understand your fascination and your devotion to the kleptocracy we have in Liberia. But that notwithstanding, I still respect you. Like I said, somebody got to support somebody. But this is where I come. This is where I come in with a different take altogether. we saw in 2005, even though I still believe that that election was rigged from George Weah. George Weah won Montserrat County by a big margin. They repeated it, even though Winston Tubman ran on the ticket in 2011. They won Montserrat County again. In the election 2017, he won Montserrat County, but then things flipped. They even had to go through extra measure just to retain local seats across the bridge on Bourgeois Island for what he named Abu Kamara to win after using extra draconian measures against Telia Ure just to be able to retain a seat within what we consider a weird safe zone. Dara didn't won that first election in Montserrat County. You know, the Montserrat County senatorial election is county-wide. So Dara didn't won it, and then it was the people in Montserrat County reaffirmed it. You know, maybe you'll say, "Oh, first, I'm not too sure what we saw. Maybe it was a fluke, you know, something that just happened." But then it was reaffirmed. It was reaffirmed in 2000, just this last year, the election that happened 2020. They don't won again the same seat. The people reaffirmed their confidence in Dillon and the repudiation of the Weah-led regime. Now, where am I going? Across the nation, they find measures that I always talk to you about. People calling from Monrovia and saying, "Oh, we spending 3 hours in traffic across the bridge just to get from Iron Gate in Broadville or the checkpoint in Broadville to Douala. 3 hours in the traffic." These are things that causes people to hit the government. When people go spend money, if they change $100 and today it can get them this much, and then the next year they go to change another $100, it can get them far less than that. All that it creates is ambivalence, is animus against the sitting government, whether it is directly attributable to the actions of the government or indirectly. The people don't really care. All they see and all they can look at is like you off again.
Mr. Tulay, I'm not going to allow you to be evasive, to run from the fact here. Please give me numbers as it relates to your pathway. Don't give me, I know you are afraid. Don't give me all this. I'm telling you to take me to Monrovia and you go all the way to
what numbers you want me to give you?
And all that. Tell me how you're going to win this presidency.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. The major thing that is happening right now in Liberia is the repudiation of the Weah-led government. The people are angry. People who supported the first thing even within your party, those who supported Weah from within the party are angry. Why? They feel let down. They feel that they've given their support and they have not, received just dividend for the support that they gave. A lot of them have been left by the wayside. Hold on. You asked me a question.
Yeah,
so from within your party, from within your party, there is discontent. From within the CDC, there's discontent. People feel that Magé and Tue have hijacked the CDC.
Tell me what is
hold on. You asked me a question.
Go ahead.
These are the 5 measures that you are overlooking. The issue of healthcare, the issue of education, the issue of infrastructure, the issue of just the daily material well-being of the people. Now, when you look at these issues and you look at people like Boto kind of winning in Babulu County, other Tingbe who supported and we are losing in Lofa County, even though he was the darling of the Kisi people for a while. When you look at these 5 measures, you know that it doesn't bode well for the CDC.
I'm gonna give you, since you don't have a war room, I know you do, but you are afraid to put out your number because your number don't look good. But let me tell you this. Listen to this. Let me show you how your whooping that you're gonna receive, how bad it's gonna be. I guarantee you that CDC is gonna win the entire Southeast.
How many voters?
Excuse me. Listen, we're going to win the entire Southeast. It doesn't matter. Even if there are 10 people in the Southeast, I'd rather go into a raid 10 people ahead. We're going to win the entire Southeast. We are going to win Grand Bassa County.
How?
We are going to win Nimba County. We are going to win Bong County. We are going to win Bapolu. We are going to win Montserrat. What else is there for you to win? Tell me. What else is there? How else can you win? Name me counties that you CPP can win right out to say we have this in our column. Tell me you didn't do that. You went.
No. You asked me a question. Listen, I'm not going to.
Tell me your pathway.
All you are saying are hypotheticals. All you are saying, all you are saying is you are hypotheticals. They're not reality. I'll give you a common example. Oh yes. Look at the Bassa belt. Are you telling me that the Bassa belt that support Liberty Party in a very lopsided way is going to vote for CDC? The way CDC is messing up, you believe that Grand Bassa County will vote for if Grand Bassa County just voted for Yombly, despite everything that Jande Bakwe and the CDC did in Grand Bassa County, they just reaffirmed their how you call it, their support for Yombly, for the CPP in Grand Bassa County. When you look at that entire Bassa belt from Margibi, the Mamba area of Monterrey County, and the Bassa belt, including Riverside County, where are the votes going to come from? And that's a big chunk of the electorate in Liberia right now. When you go to how you call the place in Bon County, CDC lost the seat in Bon County. They're not going to get the majority of votes in Bon County. I hope you know that. Nima County is 50-50. It's not a here and not there. People believe the only reason why Edith Gongo Ware lost in Nima County was because Tai Wongwe shared the vote. He ran as an independent despite the fact he did not win the primary of the CPP. So the votes were shared in Nima County. When you look at Lofa County, just forget about it, because as long as Joseph Boka is on the ticket, all right, he presents a credible threat. And not only a credible threat, he'll be the front runner in that election, because George Weah is on the outside looking in right now, despite the fact he's the president.
Okay, now listen to this. You talk about a Grand Bassa, the Bassa belt, and you talk about Nyobli Kanga, one of the weakest candidates that you guys have ever fielded in Grand Bassa County. Nyobli Kanga victory came about because of the help of CDC. When you look at a young man in electoral district number 4, we're talking about Vincent Willie. When Vincent Willie decided to join the race because of his dislike for Besangar Finley, number 4, electoral district number 4 is a very stronghold of Besangar Finley. The young man was able to gather 8,200, that's 8,200 votes in that district. If you follow the politics, and Nyobli Kanga won by 2,200 votes, barely. If you look at that district last week, you saw what Vincent Willie have done. Vincent Willie and his organization and his entire institution have pledged their support for the re-election of the president. Remember when the godfather of Grand Bassa County, when Bronsky was on the ticket, okay? CDC came in second, next to Liberty Party. Now that Mr. Councilor Bronsky is no longer in the race.
Which one of the elections are you talking about? Which one of the elections are you talking about?
Win it hands down.
Which one of the elections are you talking about at CDC? Because we had several elections in Grand Bassa County on the presidential scale since 2005. Yes.
Let's look at
which one did CDC come second to Liberty Party in, and what was the measure? What was the percentage?
Let's look at it. Let's look at the 2017 election. Bronsky was in the race, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Liberty Party was in the race, wasn't it?
Hey man, in Bronsky, my man, don't be asking rhetorical questions.
Excuse me. Unity Party was in the race. Unity Party was in the race, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in the second round, who won Grand Bassa County?
George Weah must have won
Grand
Bassa County.
So the mechanisms are still there. If Grand Bassa County is CDC to lose. So the pathway to Grand Bassa County is, we want to say, how is you're not taking into consideration the dynamics? Why did Grand Bassa vote for George Weah in 2017?
But I'm telling you, are you taking into consideration the dynamics? What happened?
I'm giving you the dynamics now. The dynamics number 1 in Grand Bassa County is the absence of Councilor Bronsky.
That wasn't the issue. That wasn't the issue. That wasn't the issue in 20.
It is the issue now.
It wasn't. Yeah,
with,
but guess
with the absence of Councilor Bronsky, there is no voice in Grand
and you
Bassa
name
County
it.
that
You
can take
name it.
Grand Bassa County
No.
away from CDC.
Okay, hold on, people. You naming Vincent Willie. Vincent Willie is a non-issue. He's a non-political non-entity in Grand Bassa. You haven't worked. I work in Grand Bassa. I worked in Grand Bassa through 2 election cycles. And understand that's why when we on the show with a lot of people.
Give me the counties that CPP want to win. Let's go from county to county.
Yeah, hold on, big brother. We're Grand Bassa right now. I worked in Grand Bassa for 2 election cycles. 2 election cycles.
Lost both.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We lost nationally, but not in Grand Bassa. We lost nationally, we not in Grand Bassa. The 2005 election, we were robbed. Ellen did not come second. She came third. We were robbed. Okay, so that the point, the thing is this. I would say this to you: when we are talking with other, I always say this here because my experience here is not just from the media perspective. I came first from the political arena where I worked at the grassroots level across the country, both with councilor and away from councilor. And I interacted with the people when we go places and they are holding a meeting in halls and stuff like that. I'm outside feeling the pulse of the people, interacting with the people, understanding their psyche, their mentality. I go to the tire shop overnight. When we sleep in a particular place, I go to the tire shop, I spend time, I buy a tire, and I try to gauge the real feelings of the electorate. Because you see, the opinion leaders in a particular place, they reflect the political will of the place. Okay, so I will tell you this for free. Yombli, because of Abba Kanga, she's an unmovable force in Grand Bassa County. I don't care how much Bison does, he's never going to beat Yombli. You know the reason why? Because of the same fine measure I'm talking about. Yombli does little things for her people in Grand Bassa County. She started it when she was at LPRC handling the corporate affairs department, doing things for the people, for the Grand Bassa County Hospital and stuff. Since she's been senator, she does little things that move the needle to improve the living standards. She has, in the entire country, she's the only individual, only private individual or what we call government, whatever, outside of government that runs mobile clinics.
Okay.
Okay, no, hold on, Jerome. You will hear this. You will hear this. She's the only individual outside government that runs mobile clinics in Grand Bassa County. No other person, no other political figure, or even the government runs a mobile clinic anywhere in the country. She runs mobile clinic in Grand Bassa County. Do you know how much that means to the poor people out there in the places where they don't have hospitals? Do you know what that means?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point.
On Point.
You are on point. I want to tell Mr. Tulay that not only is he off point, but he's way left field. Here I am, Mr. Jerome Gayman, born and raised in Grand Bassa County.
Yeah, you don't go there.
It's off point. Now, Mr. Tulay, not only that you off point, but I'm on point. And let me tell you this now. Let me tell you this. If you look at what's brewing now in Grand Bassa County between the 3 groups in Grand Bassa County now, it will tell you and validate exactly what I'm saying. The Bill Tuaways of the world have come into the Grand Bassa County and now have taken the matter of being the leader of the Bassa Belt. The Finley folks are saying, no, you cannot come into this territory and take over this place. Finley has been the voice of the folk based on what he has done for the folks and based on the past elections. Nyombli Kanga is not even part of that conversation because if Vincent Willie have not taken part in this electoral process, Nyombli Kanga would have been defeated by 8,000 votes. Nyombli Kanga is insignificant in Grand Bassa politics. Wow. You are talking about a mobile clinic. I'm from Grand Bassa County. I got families, I got friends that have never seen what you are talking about. It's only in name. Yeah, there are a few things you meet here and you give few Tylenol here and then you call it mobile clinic. You cannot show me a pictorial or a schedule or where a mobile clinic is, when and where and how and who operates it. You don't have that. You are only thinking, so you are off point.
Listen. You know the good thing about this? We'll be back here on Sunday, right? So
yes,
we'll be back here on Sunday, right?
That's correct.
You're asking for pictorial. I will send it to the control, and they will put it up for us to see on Sunday.
Yeah,
one of the things. Wait. You know, one of the good things you always do for yourself when you don't know about something, you will say, "I will investigate it."
That's
will not come. Hold on. It's never good to come out straight and say this does not exist when you don't have the facts. Say, I will investigate. Not because you got family people in Grand Bassa County, mean that you are receiving. When was the last time you talked to some other family people there?
I was in Grand Bassa County 2 months ago.
Yeah, you were in Grand Bassa County 2 months ago. So the mobile clinic supposed to be in Buchanan. That's what I'm trying to say.
Over the place. But anyway, we were waiting for you.
Where did you go?
We were for you to bring your proof. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to On Point. Now we're going to go to. He didn't address the Bill Tulay feeling.
No. Okay, yeah. But I was addressing one thing, and then you want to move forward. Let me tell you something. Bill Tulay was still. Bill Tulay was the managing director of MPA during the last election, the last senatorial election. He worked along with Janje Bapwe and a lot of other people who support the CDC from Grand Bassa County to work against the re-election of Yombli Kanga. She still won. She still won, big brother. She still won. So the issue here is this. It's to show that talk is different from the reality on the ground. I was telling Anthony, and we're having this conversation, and this is the reality. The Liberian electorate don't just shift like that. They don't just shift. Their loyalty is not fickle. It is funny and it's consistent. The loyalty of the Liberian electorate is consistent. Meaning, if they put their trust in you, you already have to fill them in many tangible ways that are provable before they can shift their loyalty. Hence, the typical example is George Weah. These people stuck with George Weah. They made him a senator. They stuck with him. They made him president. When they realized that this guy was a fraud, that everything they had believed about him is not what it is, because when he became president, he became exposed, his greed and the ineptitude of his three musketeers. I'm talking about Tulay, Magay, and Jefferson Koji. They have excluded Gray from that cycle. Gray and Mobile Mulu are on the outside looking in now. Jefferson Koji, McGill, and Tulay. They have hijacked the presidency of Weah, and they have not only hijacked the presidency of Weah, they're leading him on the trajectory of failure. The country is suffering. The economy is in dire straits. They have no plan, no format, no ways to do something. They went to Washington, D.C. to go lobby and pass around to blow up $100,000 or $200,000 that could be used to provide laboratory equipment in some of the high schools in Montserrado County. Just starting with Montserrado first. So don't tell me that your people got Bill Tulay has. Let me tell you something. You can go spend money. We saw what he named Fala spending a lot of money, and we saw the result of it. So I'm not perturbed.
Mr. Tulay, you are not understanding. You are off point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point. Mr. Tulay is off point for one reason. He does not understand Bassa politics. He didn't know how Vincent Willie got in the race. Some people are saying that they were invisible hands that did not want Finley to be part of the inner workings of the CDC, and that's why Willie was put into the race. And people are making a connection between Vincent Willie and Bill Tulay that has a visible interest in keeping Yombli Kanga where she is, because Yombli Kanga is a failure. She did absolutely nothing for the Bassa people, nothing tangible that even you can say. You say a little thing here and there. But anyway, being as it is, let's move on to this delegation you just mentioned.
No, we will not move on. You will not cast aspersion on my political leader. No. Go ahead. We will not move on. You will not cast aspersion on my political leader. And
gentlemen, can you talk about the Liberty Party aspect of the CPP victory?
We are coming to it. Go ahead.
But that's what we want right now. We're going there right now. Listen, let me say something to you. The issue here is this. You will not cast aspersion on my political leader And I would just sit down and say, then when you finish, you mother the water on her person and her character, and you say, let's move on. We're not moving on anywhere, big brother. We will look at this issue until you realize that my political leader, you say she had done nothing for the people, but they voted for her back and back again. And you say she done nothing for them. And she meets them where they are. You know what it shows? It shows that the people in Liberia, they're not hard to please politically. They're not hard to please. They only want to see that you have interest in them. They only want to see that you leave your high horse, and that's what Yombli is good at. That's what you don't understand. Yombli speaks the language of the people. She can come to their level. They find themselves in her. They see their daughters. They see their sons in her. So as a result, they can relate to her. The poor people can relate to her. And she comes from a family that is an institution in Grand Bassa County. They own schools, churches, clinic. They have a clinic in Monrovia. Bro, how will you say, look at this family and say, look at this lady that I know, okay? I know on a personal, I know in her house. I'm talking about, you see, I'm talking about these political people there because I met them just in a, I knew Yombli outside of politics. Before she got involved in politics, before she became an elected official, I knew her outside of politics. So I know her. So let me say this, the Bassa people are behind Liberty Party completely. That is why I say here, some time ago, that Liberty Party have a special place in the CPP because they have the second largest constituency in the CPP. ANC is all on the social media. They really don't have a constituency. Okay? Liberty Party has the second largest constituency and the most consistent constituency in Liberia. Okay? In spite of who becomes president or what, we have stuck with our party. So what I'm saying to you is this, that in the CPP gains strength because of Liberty Party. That is why Madam Salif is working to destroy the CPP. That is why she worked hard behind the scenes and ensured that Musa Berede became the chairman of Liberty Party to swing the party away from the CPP mainstream to support ANC. The reason is she wants George Weah to remain president for another 6 years. Because if Alex Cummings becomes the standard bearer of the CPP, what will happen, even with the support of Liberty Party, if Alex Cummings becomes the standard bearer of the CPP, and the CPP becomes, not the CPP, it becomes the standard bearer of the CPP, and the CPP is fractured because of that. It is not done well. And they don't hold together. If they held together, if Unity Party and everyone was part of that CPP and Cummings was the standard bearer, they will have a good chance of beating George Weah. But if Joe Bucker has the CPP, there is a clear chance. It's a clear-cut victory.
Mr. Tulay, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point. Mr. Tulay has laid off point the entire conversation here. You remember, Nyobli Kanga has been into the Senate while going on 12 years. She on her second term, she's going to be in the Senate for 18 years. You remember, I told you how brilliant Mr. Tulay is, how competent he is. He's a numbers person. He's very analytical. Now, one day he said, well, in the 12 years that Nyobli Kanga has been in the Senate, this is a tangible. These are the bills she has introduced. These are the bills she has passed. These are the things she has done. None of that. When you talk to Nyobli Kanga, she says, my job is not to build homes, it's not to build bridges, it's not to create jobs. My job is to make laws and oversight. But then when you ask her and her constituents, what law has she passed? They say, well, she's an advocate. She's talking on women's issue, and she's the only woman in the Senate, and she should not be removed. And she goes around telling people in Bassa, what's the matter with Bell? Say they don't like the women, they want to get rid of. So you have been off point. I respect your analysis, your analytical skill, but everybody knows that it is feeble at this point. You do not have anything. Nyobli Kanga is a failure. She has failed the Bassa people, and just on that, if she appears anywhere near the ticket 2023, it's going to be something we call political wipeout. She's going to be wiped out. The Bassa belt is well and live. Now let's move to the delegation here. You tell me, you were saying the delegation came in.
No. Before we move to the delegation,
you can report, but go ahead.
Yeah, before we move to the delegation, we got to look at this issue because that delegation is a waste of energy. Let's look at more germane and more salient issues. That delegation is a waste of energy. You have two inept individuals who don't even know, they don't have any articulated political ideology. They don't have any leadership skills. They are bad administrators. They don't even understand economics, the basics of economics. They don't even know that that country, as an agrarian society, you must invest heavily in agriculture if you want to have economic growth in Liberia. They don't even understand the basics of governance in the first place. They run a country that you don't even have an ambulance system. They run a country that you don't even have a fire service that is real functional, that can go and there's no electricity when you go put few light posts up and a street light up. So talking about Tulay, I'll tell you something. Talking about Tulay and McGill is a waste. It's an exercise in futility. It's a waste of precious time. Liberia we need to contribute more in terms of advancing suggestions that can help our people than wasting our time talking about Tulay and McGill. Because Tulay and McGill, more than any other people, those two are responsible for the demise of the WIA-led government. Because if WIA was surrounded with people who are innovative, people who understand how things work, people who have vision, people who have working ideologies and principles, people who are scrupulous, the government will be far off right now. They have hijacked the government. One is a talkative, he's an airhead. The Tulay man, he has nothing to contribute. He has never managed any kind of good money until he became Minister of Finance, and it shows, okay? McGee, on the other hand, is there killing people. He's there behind the scene killing anybody who has question of government. 5 auditors were killed, and we all are silent on it because the reason why you are silent on it is because you support George Weah. 5 auditors. No other country this thing has happened in a long time except Liberia, and the only reason is because you got guys who McGee is connected to the MPP killing group. The ATU guys, the remnants of the ATU who are still around doing contract killing. So they murder these people, and we want to let it go. That's the reason why Liberia is in a state of flux. It's going nowhere. It's just floating because you have people like McGee and Tulay holding WIA hostage. That is so. I don't want to waste my energy on them. They came to DC, they did nothing. I've called, I've asked people who live in DC, who work in DC, who know the goings on in DC, and nobody can say they met any person of substance, any person of importance in DC. So it's a waste of time.
Mr. Tulay, you are on point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point. I am sorry you see my brother here. He's grabbing for air. He's grabbing for straw because he has no
go to the issue.
But let me bring you to.
Okay, no, go to the information. What is the information?
Let me bring you to the article that was just published on Front Page.
No. You met Tulay personally. You met them personally. Can you tell me who of consequence they met in the? You know the reason why I'm asking this because when you do it, I will call that office.
Okay.
If they met anybody of consequence in the body government, call the person's name. We'll write it down. We'll call the office and we'll find out if they went there and if they met.
Okay. The delegation, according to Front Page Africa, according to the report, the delegation also met a U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Greenfield. So call her.
But she's not central.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, George Tulay is losing it. He's losing it. I can see he's losing it.
Okay. Besides, meeting Linda Thomas Greenfield could be a courtesy. It could be a courtesy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. My brother Tulay, today is a bad day for you. You are having a terrible day.
Okay, I'm asking you.
Let's look
did they meet?
Let's look at our majority whip, Clyburn. You are telling me Clyburn is nobody in the hierarchy of politics?
Yeah. Okay. So they met Jim Clyburn. I'm gonna take the list down. And we'll corroborate the list.
I just forwarded to you.
I read it, and I don't believe a word because they gave the information to them. They might have met somebody from his office that did not meet Jim Clyburn himself. I can guarantee that. They met somebody from Jean Claiborne office. They did not meet Claiborne himself.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
listen.
I read the article.
And the list goes on and on.
Whoa.
But
Look at
the list. Look,
Claiborne is a congressional.
You want me to read it to you? You want to read it to you? Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching On Point. My brother, George Tulay, is struggling. Now, let me give you, let's see if our partners, Mr. C, if you have that photo with me and Mr. McGill in beautiful Miami when I met with the delegation, not in Washington, D.C., in Miami. And let me show you, first of all, we couldn't divulge most of the information in these photos because the government have not done their part. Now they have done it. We can now tell you that one of the pillars of economic recovery in Liberia is tourism.
Can I say something to you?
Listen to this. Where in the world will you go? Listen to this, my friend. If tourism is one of the pillars of economic recovery in Liberia, where in the world will you go to address tourism? Where is the tourism market of the world? Guess where they went? They came to the red spot. They came to the state of Florida, where you have Disney. You have everything that has to do with tourism. So here we are, George. We didn't tell you this, but I met with them. And these are the things that some of us have been suggesting. If you want to develop your tourism market, this is where, not in Washington, D.C. Okay, this is where you come. So, George, do the best you can.
Okay, hold on, Sumana. Now. You know the difference between you and myself?
I feel sorry.
Listen, the difference between you and myself, I will not come and say, oh, Jerome is off point. He's because you're always off point. Once you support CDC, you're off point. So I don't have to waste my time. But let me say this to you and our viewers. I'm very sure a lot of enlightened people are listening to us as we are speaking. I will say this.
I was saying one of this.
Meeting tourism board in Miami. That's not going to help Liberia right now. The issue with the government is when governments go to another government to go in and meet them regarding aid and grants and economic assistance. You got to meet the people, the policy makers, the implementers, those who are the political advisors of the president, the people upon who the president lean are the ones you're supposed to meet. Claiborne helps with the legislative agenda, I agree. But Claiborne is not one of the policy implementers when it comes to Biden's global footprint, his foreign policy, and how it affects Liberia. You have to meet people of substance. And before you come to DC, that's why I told you, I say you are dealing with two people who don't have any brains of substance. Before a political delegation, a national delegation leave a country to go to another country to go, you must have already had these meetings arranged. These meetings will already be planned. You will have your embassy people reach out to these people and plan these meetings, put it on these people, their schedules, so that they know. And guess what? It comes out of respect. Okay? It's diplomacy. Before you leave Liberia, your meetings are already arranged. You are accorded diplomatic status, diplomatic respect. Not going around and meeting just anybody.
Well,
okay. Okay. So that is one of the points I want to say to you, that they left Liberia without these meetings being planned. They didn't meet anybody within the treasury. They didn't meet anybody within. They didn't meet anybody of substance within the treasury. They didn't meet no, but listen, you can go and meet a low level. Listen, a minister of finance from a country should be meeting either the undersecretary or the secretary. Okay, you should be meeting the undersecretary or the secretary. The undersecretary at least. You should be meeting people who are the ones that craft policy and that implement policy. Okay? So Another thing I want to say before you come in, when it comes to tourism, you can even meet anybody you want to meet regarding tourism. If we do not clean our city and we do not work to implement a plan, I give you a common example, Monrovia, for instance. Georgia did not create this problem, it exists. The areas around the Monterado River, including Monrovia, you know what they have done with Monrovia? Water and sewer do not have the pumping. In fact, most of the lines are blocked now. When before the war, all the sewer went into Firma. Before the war, all the sewage in Monrovia, all the sewage went to Firma. Since the things broke down, what they did was they channel all the pipes towards either the Sony Wang or mainly into the Do River. So the Do River right now is full of fecal matter. The Do River is completely full of fecal matter. All those buildings, including the finance ministry, all those buildings in central Monrovia, when they flush their bathrooms, it goes down waterside into the Do River. So the Do River is highly polluted. You can't have tourism with the major waterway in your city polluted with fecal matter. I'm not saying something that is not visible. It's visible when you stay like this. You see the entire river is highly polluted. So if we want to have tourism, it's not an instantaneous, it's not a light switch. We have to start first by thinking, how do we remove the major populations from along the banks of the Do River, from West Point Slipway, Claratown, Vittown, going all the way to Do community, and then across the bridge? How do we remove those communities from there? How do we build low-cost housing along all those land that are lying fallow along the banks of the St. Paul River, going all the way to Swamaka? You can move people over there if you provide good transportation. If you provide good transportation, you can build low-cost housing estates that you can remove. And guess what? The same tourism you're talking about, those lands that are over there, West Point, for instance, somebody will take that West Point and develop a tourism place. Because once you stop polluting the Monterado River and you do a river cleanup, it will give the city beauty. But the thing is this, you cannot put the cart before the horse. You can go meet with any kind of tourism board. If somebody comes, tourists come to Liberia, the drug problem, we have all the Zogos in Monrovia, just the Rio de Janeiro. These are the things that will affect tourism. So don't even talk about tourism except you are ready to get your job done. Who told you can't build low-cost housing estate, low-cost housing, well-planned with everything, sports, education, healthcare, everything, and outside of Monrovia, remove these populated centers where people are living on top of each other, and then clean the city first, then you can talk about tourism.
Mr. Tulay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being on point. We're going to comment later on very shortly as our time is fast spent. You notice that Mr. Tulay have not addressed either of the issues we are talking about. He's a true politician. He knows how to evade the topic. We are talking about visitation. We are talking about forming partnership. He have left everything and he gone to Do River being polluted. When I live in New York City, and everybody knows about New York City, when you look at the Hudson River, was the most polluted river in the nation, and yet there's still tourism was flourishing. First of all, Mr. Tulay and his political jargons and his life and his co-host, they said there was a ban on the Liberian government, that nobody in the Liberian government would be ever allowed in the United States, that there were sanctions on these folks. And that is proving wrong. We not only did we bring one or two, we brought the entire delegation here. And now they are saying, well, your delegation came, but you wasted a lot of money. We have proven that these people are all fake. And now they are saying we did not meet with high-ranking officers. We are talking about the majority whip. We are talking about the U.S. ambassador to the UN, who was instrumental in the MCC. You heard the ambassador, you heard Senator Cohn congratulating President. We are on the compact, and we are looking at renewing that for the next 5 years. You are looking at what was being said by the American government, what Liberia intends to do, and what Liberia is about to gain from this. Yet and still, he's all over the place. And to even make matter worse, George Tulay and his left were in power for 12 years. Didn't they know that the place was polluted? Didn't they know that there were sewage problems?
Oh, so because the place was polluted, then
so we are putting mechanism in place to clean the place, to bring money. You're talking about aid and grant. Those are things that have stipulation. What this president has done that is awesome is to do what we call economic octopus. The delegations are here. Some are in Miami, some are in Minnesota, some are in Detroit, some are all over the place. When you're talking about creating jobs, you need factories. So if we are in Detroit talking to the automobile industry, hopefully they will build so those things will help. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the comment section and let Mr. Tulay read some comments.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break first.
Okay, let's take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Mr. Tulay, time and fast spent here. We need to go read it. Read the comments, please.
All right. you just ran all over the place just now, talking without without any kind of substance, big brother. You meeting auto industry in Liberia, when you don't even have a steady source and a consistent supply of electricity.
I mean, read the comments.
Yeah. I'll read the comments, but my point, before I read the comments, I have to make this point. Like I told you, you always mother the water and hope to move on. I come to a place I refuse to allow this to happen. Your people, listen. What did they get? What tangible can they lay their hand on? That I went to DC or I went to all these cities, and these are the tangible agreements that we signed, bilateral agreements that were signed, undertakings that were entered into, assistance that were tied down through our trip. We tied down these different things, and this is where we are, because these are the gains, the net gains from our trip. What are they? What are the net gains? Like I said.
Excellent question. Excellent question. First of all, this is why we are saying we got the opposition by the throat, because the opposition. Listen, man, we're gonna go to that real quick. First of all, you have to understand to ask that question. You got to understand what was the mission here. From the very beginning, the government told you.
Oh, you use the word economic.
No, listen to this.
How can you say that the person you use a word that has no meaning? You say economic octopus. What do you call the government have economic octopus?
Okay, now I just told you. We hear you see you are so myopic because you're from the old school. You are a Unity Party person. You come from the True Party.
I am not Unity Party. You said no. I'm
you are a Liberty Party person. You are a CPP person that came from the True Party wing of the government. So you are myopic. Everything has to be done in Washington D.C. You saw these people taking the nation. They went to the West Coast. They went to the East Coast. They went to Central America. They went to D.C. They went to Minnesota. They went everywhere. They are engaged. When you talk about job creation, factory is one of the main ways of creating jobs. If Detroit decided to make a factory to manufacture parts, or just a mini parts, okay, both. Let's say both. If Detroit agrees to give us a look to build a factory, that alone may create about 1,000 jobs right off the top. These are the things we need to look at strictly from the private sector, and not always Washington D.C. grants and aid from the old school of thought that everything has to come in out of Washington D.C. and it has to be aid and grant that is tied to something. Now go ahead and read the comments so we go, because I know you got to go watch your Lakers game.
Stop, my man. Let's focus on the show. All right. This person is saying George Weah won because of Ellen and Joel Taylor. You tried for 2 years, but didn't win until 2017. You mean 2 times? Who was the majority in the House and the Senate anyways? It says UP according to Wikipedia, yeah? Is there a legit website we can use to access information on the government of Liberia? CPP UP is still strong and ready to compete in 2023. That's from Dolly Gibson. Ben Vonzia said, don't you dare challenge Bill when it comes to Bassa politics. He's a match when it comes to the population influencing Bassa land. Let's go ahead, Ben. Great analysis, Mr. George Tulay. The effort to make the ANC lead the CPP is just to help the CDC. It's true. That's just on point. George P. Lobo, why if JBN end up losing to the CDC in 2023, what will you say? Joseph Tonto. Cristiano King, opposition bloc always borrowing lies from the HPC and it's sickening. I don't know what he means by HPC. Internal security of law-abiding citizens, especially motorists, is frightening, whereby motor accidents occur and little is done by the laws of the land to the culprits or victims. What will be done anyway? If this is true, then the police must be vigilant in protecting the victim, prosecute those breaking the laws in Liberia. Liberia is a country of laws. We can protect all citizens. Very troubling. I don't know what he's talking about. Jibat Jimin. Variant Powerhouse says, yes, true that. Before you visit other government officials, there should have been scheduled meetings ahead of time before leaving your country. It's just a waste of time, man. George Lobo, you are invited next Sunday at 4 p.m. Don't be late. Do not be late. Focus on Liberia. You are invited, we're supposed to say. Okay, this is from us. Edward Doe, true. The delegation should have been given the meeting agenda to FPA. That is the meetings would have been scheduled before the delegation arrived in the U.S. There was no high-level U.S. personnel the delegation met. Okay, you won't meet somebody because of credits. She was with you guys for a lot of years, so she met you. Mr. Gayman is clueless about Liberia. Thomas Awaji. Look at the riverways of Florida comparing to that of Monrovia. Tourism is bigger than what you think. Nobody comes to a dirty country. Just forget about it. Let's go to the next one, brother. We said Cully. God said yes. Who can say no? Today, God is great. President George, man, we are 12 years president. God bless you, my President George. We are. Come on. Brother George, you know nothing. You were still on Insta. Bob Jerry. Thank you, Bob Jerry. I appreciate that. I love that. I wish you knew half of what I knew. Let's go. Let's go ahead, brother. Okay, I think that's okay. One more. All right. Liberia LR was not built on ideas rather. I firmly believe Liberia was built on the idea of getting rid of unwanted people, so-called free blacks or black slaves from the United States of America. After that being said, like America did not teach the so-called free blacks how to be responsible handlers of power. Today, Liberia is, or as a nation, Liberia as a nation, not built on ideas, is still struggling like a house built without a foundation. In conclusion, until the American Liberians see Liberia as their own and not the American Liberians, they don't really factor again. I mean, they're part. It's all Liberians now. The problem is owned by every Liberian. American Liberian, they've been out of politics now for almost 40 years. All right, for 40 years, not even for 41 years now. They've been out of April made it 41 years since they were out of power. So we cannot hold them. 41 years, a generation. We've had a generation to transform Liberia. We had a generation to make sure that Liberians are educated, not just obtaining credentials. We've had a generation to make sure that when people go to school and they come out of school and they get credentials, that they can defend the credentials. We also had a generation to ensure that our education system is updated to the point that Liberians who are educated, they are educated in necessary fields that can contribute to the advancement of our society. These are the things that we've had 40 years to do. So we should stop saying the American Liberians. That thing is scapegoatism, and I do not subscribe to that. I believe that the problem is owned by us. What happened is this. Somebody said yesterday on the show we're having that government is continuity. We always say this. There are things that have not been done by the Salif government. I'll give you a common example, big brother. In Indonesia, they have the same pollution problem, rivers being polluted like this, with water hyacinth, weeds and different plastics and different pollutants. They deploy barges that can sift the water, and they sift the dirt, the debris, the mess from the river on a continuous basis, so that they can keep the river clean. That's what they do. Okay, because they're aware that if they don't do that, they cannot regulate. As much as they try it, they cannot regulate who throws water into the storm drains. Trash in the storm drains. And if the storm drains are dirty, and with the high monsoon rains, the rainwater will take the trash into the waterways. And because they want their city clean, they have these dredges that basically suck in the water and then filter out the dirt and then push out the water again. So they clean the rivers on a consistent basis. We need something like that. But the amount of fecal matter, in other words, the amount of toilet, or Liberian way you say poo-poo, that is on the Do River right now, it constitutes health hazard. I'm telling you. It's a terrible thing. Ellen did not do anything about it, but George Weah can do something. Instead of running around, write a proposal, try and get international help, how we can get 3 of these machines to start cleaning the water while we're trying to deal with the issue of people toileting. And so you can pass a moratorium. If you have a home without toilet in your home, we're breaking it down.
Well, Mr. Tulay, Mr. Tulay, these are great ideas. And what makes the United States great is wherever you find a gap. What's wrong with the George Tulays of the world and the Jerome Gaymans of the world combining, forming a corporation to say there is a gap here that we can write a proposal? Everything does not have to go through the government. The private sector can. There's a gap. There's a need. We can write a proposal to say, United Nations, we don't want to deal with George Weah. We don't want to deal with Liberia because they don't have the money. But we are going to do our proposal directly to the World Bank or African Bank. This is what we can do. And by this, we can actually create jobs and put money into the economy. Why do we have to wait for the government? This is where I'm coming from, that we have the knowledge and know-how. So why don't we do it waiting for the government? But what time if I spend, please go ahead and do your closing statement so we can wrap this up.
Why are you running away? Why are we running so soon today? I thought we were going to do 1 hour 30 minutes today.
Oh, let's do it. I'm all ears according to parole. I'm all ears.
Yeah, but I thought that what we spoke would do up to at least 1 hour 30 minutes today. We got 20 minutes.
You against the rope. You need more time. It's all right.
I'm not. Yes. I've never been against the rope.
When you against the rope, you want time. You want a referee to come in and hold you and stop.
There's something we can do. There's something we can do. We can always criticize these guys, like you said. How can we clean Montserrat? How can we clean Monrovia? Because if you get your work together, if you solve the problems, the housing issue, the issue of the city being habitable, if we can make the city habitable and clean and we resolve these problems, it's sad, but we do not have a waste disposal plant for Montserrat County. We don't. I agree that all the homes outside of Monrovia, at least in the suburbs, they all use septic tanks. That's how it has been from day one. So that's not a problem there. But the waste from Montserrat and Cinco, the waste from Montserrat and Cinco is going into the Atlantic Ocean and the Do River. That is untreated. It's untreated. I'm telling you, it's a terrible thing. And people are still fishing. I remember the FPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, passed release of public service announcement saying people should not eat seafood. They should not eat any seafood or river food from the Montserrat River. How can we solve these problems? Because there's one thing we can say: we can talk politics and criticize and bastardize people every time because they deserve it. But one of the things about Monrovia is this: People are living on top of one another in these slumps, and we have tracts of land lying fallow along the banks of the St. Paul River, as far as the eyes can see. You can develop, you can bring money into Montserrat, into Monrovia, for the entire bourgeois island, beginning from West Point going. If you put up a plan and say, look, we are moving the population to this place, we want to build self-contained housing estates that have soccer fields, basketball courts, swimming pool, hospitals, libraries, because you will plan it. It will be a complete planned communities that will be built. You will have hospitals. Everything will be built there. So you can now, then what you do, you can give these lands out to people, to developers, and then take the money from there and build low-cost housing estates. And just do it with time. Within 1 year, yeah.
Mr. Tulay, I'm saying that I'm asking you, you are not giving the solution. We all know what the problem is.
No, not everyone knows that there's a problem there. Not everyone knows. I'm giving you the solution now. You need enterprise funding into the area. Hold on.
Why George Tulay and Jerome Gayman? And we know, I'm in Florida, where I know about development. I know about developers. I know about developed communities. You are in Toronto. You see the same thing there. What's stopping us from doing that? You see a gap. The profit is there. We know there's a need. Why aren't we doing it? Waiting on the government to do this. We have the know-how. We are the educated one. We have the experience. The two ways of the world, you say these people are not qualified. They don't know what they are doing. You and I know this. Why aren't we writing the proposal directly to where we can put the money and develop and get wealthy like other people do? What's holding us up?
You know what's holding us up, if you ask me? Write a proposal now. For you, you'll be able to do it because you have inside link with the powers that be in Liberia. But for me, because I'm an opposition person, if I wanted to do anything in Liberia, I would meet red tips. I will not get anything approved.
Come on, George Tulay.
You're talking about you ask a question. I'm giving you. Hold on. You ask a question. I'm telling you real world stuff, and you just being dismissive. Stop. Just listen. Liberia, as it is right now, we're talking about shifting of a serious population. We're talking about upwards of 400,000 persons to 500,000 persons that inhabit this tract that we're talking about. The Bourgeois Island tract into Cap. West Point alone has 40,000 to 50. This is between 40 to 60,000 persons living in a small tract of land in West Point. We need to develop West Point. West Point, the whole West Point to Slipway can be developed. The whole Bourgeois Island can be developed into a real place where you can have high rises, you can have stores, you can have businesses and everything. You can give out the rights to those lands. The money you will generate from it, you can use it to build low-cost housing estates. You can write funding to Habitat International, whatever else, and try and get some money, different funds and different grants, and build low-cost housing, well-designed, self-contained, with everything that people need. Build it over there, and then empty out this place. Build a waste management plant for Monrovia because the one in Fiamma no longer functions. And these are things I'm saying you cannot, it's not, no individual can do this. You need is a private public enterprise or undertaking. You have to work along with the government because the land is owned by the government. That's my point.
Mr. Tulay, this is what I'm telling you. Donald Trump came into New York City, he had an idea, he developed it without the help of the government, with whatever tax incentive the city and the federal government had. He did his. You and I have seen a pathway to being wealthy and giving back to our communities. We have the World Bank. We have the African Development Bank. We have all of these institutions ready to help Liberia. You said the folks on the ground do not have the know-how. We in the diaspora do. If we do, what is holding us back from writing our grants?
Well, who is going to... The World Bank and the African Development Bank will not deal with you as an individual. I thought you knew this.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You're not listening. I said it will have to be a private public.
Mr. Tulay, we understand the private partnership. I understand this. Have you begun the process? You are saying because you are in the opposition, it's not going to happen.
We are having a conversation here, Mr. Gayman. What process are you talking about? Really, you've been frustrating. What process are you talking about? I'm just advancing this thing for you to hear it today. I said it to you the
That's
last
what I'm
time.
saying. Like I'm telling you, everybody knows the problem in Liberia. You don't have to lecture me on the problem in Liberia. You
Oh, I'm
know it,
not
and I
lecturing
know
you
it.
on the problem. We are
Understand that
talking
we
to
are
our
doing
guests.
what you
We
and
have
I
people
are doing.
tuning into this show, Mr. Gayman. It's not only about you and I.
But when I'm saying you, we represent the masses. I'm talking about the diaspora. We are here. You belong to a class, an educated class, a knowledgeable class. I belong to that class. What's stopping us from putting together a team or project that will make the government, that will be so attractive the government can turn it down? Instead, you are actually castigating the government because you are in opposition. Who says that? If like you are saying, if you drew up a plan and brought it to the National Bank, or you took it to wherever, the UN, wherever funding is available, if it's feasible, if it's attractive, remember the primary objective of capitalism is profit. Nobody is going to turn profit down if it makes sense. You have to do your survey, you have to do your marketing research.
You don't want to listen to me. You wouldn't want to hear yourself right now. How look at you, big brother. Because what we are talking about, I never said that you and I cannot put forth a plan. But what I'm trying to tell you is this. I don't care how much well your plan is written in Liberia. If you do not have the approval of central government, it's a waste of time. I don't believe in wasting my time. I do not believe in wasting. I'm just telling you, big brother. I don't believe
until you put forth a plan and deny for you to have tangible proof that you have done it. It's just gossip. Have you ever done something of this nature that was denied?
But you see, you so hype on this politics thing that even when somebody advancing a plan that has not even been put on paper.
That's the point. That's the point.
Well, so what when we talk about plans, I'm putting forth a plan that it doesn't have to be me. I don't have to be the one to implement the plan for profit before it can be done. That's just the truth. I hope you understand this. Listen, I'm a nationalist. I'm not. That's why I look for money to take care of my family on the side. If I am part of a process that brings me windfall, then fine. But this thing is more than me. Because if I have an idea and I keep that idea, I only want to talk about an idea because I need to make sure that it's economical to me, it brings economic benefits to me, then I'm being selfish. What is for Liberia? That is for Liberia. Nobody has talked about this thing for a very long time. I haven't heard people talk about it. I've been talking about it from radio. How can we make Monrovia something that can be a jewel, people can be proud of? Foreigners can come and they can come and enjoy an environment. They don't have to be worried about a dirty environment, an environment that is filthy. They don't. That is my point, big brother. My point is this: the ideas that I have, I'm prepared to bring it out there. So if somebody wants it, because guess what? There is one thing to say, I have this idea. I know how it works. I can write a project proposal for this. I know what needs to be done. Do I know where to go and get funding for it? No, Mr. Gayman. I don't know where to go right now to get fundings. I know there are enterprise, I know there are enterprise fundings out there. So when I talk about something, I want to see a better Monrovia. I want to see a cleaner city. Okay, all rainy season people are stepping on toilet in Monrovia walking. They go back to their homes with their shoes on their feet. It's unhealthy. So what can we do? We need a waste management plant built in Monrovia. That's not a private initiative. That's government. Government needs to put together a plan and then reach for international partners. They will find $20 million to build a waste management plant. It is wrong to have a city the size of one that has more than 1 million people without a waste management plant.
Mr. Tulay, there's something in the United States. There's a corporation called Waste Pro. Waste Pro is a private industry that collects waste, that manufacture waste, that transform waste. They partners or they contract from the government, and they do this. It was out of somebody's idea that this came about. That listen, government does not need to be in the waste production, waste management process. somebody took it and made serious money and making serious money. If you come up with the idea, that's how it works. Everything cannot be the government. And now here we are. One of my former professors, Michael Dukakis, used to say, everybody has a plan. Every ballroom in the United States has plan catching dust. It is those guys who actually have the plan to put them, what he called the tire or the rubber to the road. Those who can actually walk after that to make it, to implement those plans. And those guys are few and far in between, but they are the most successful. And remember, if you are going into business without making profit, and your job is because you want to do well for Liberia, you are not going to succeed, because what you are talking about,
you are missing this. I am not, when I talk
money.
about Liberia,
if I'm investing,
but Mr. Gayman,
I want a return on my investment.
Agree. Yeah. If you look at it from a business perspective, I'm looking at it from a nationalistic perspective. It's an idea. If it can be monetized, fine. If it can be monetized, fine. But guess what? It is needful. So whether somebody makes money out of it from a private investment perspective is another discussion altogether. This is something that's supposed to be on the books in Liberia. How can we clean our environment? We cannot have a city where the seat of government resides that is filthy, that people are going on the beach to ease themselves. So we can pass a moratorium. I'm sorry, but if you have a house without working toilet, please leave the city.
Well,
please, we'll demolish it.
Constitution, you can't do that.
No, you can.
You cannot do that.
You can.
You cannot do that.
You can.
Okay.
There are ordinances on the book. You're not supposed to. Mr. Gayman, nobody's supposed to have a home in Monrovia built without working toilet. You're not supposed to be able to build a rental where you rent rooms without ensuring that the people who rent from you have a place that they can defecate. So people going on the beach is a no-no. The environment has been polluted. It needs, you see, listen, this is the EPA. This is the Monroe City Corporation. This is national government. And if you and I can I tell you, I can write a project proposal for this. I can do the market analysis and everything. Like I said, the land across the bridge can be used, the entire Bourgeois Island and parts of the parts of the mean Monrovia can be given out to foreign investors, land developers, and they can give us seed money that we can use that seed money and go and build. We can build low-cost housing, medium-cost housing on the banks of the Simple River, right? We can do that and develop the city. We develop the city in such a way that people will, then we can now, when we move the population away, then we can come now and address the problem. Because guess what? When people are upon each other like this, you cannot address some of those issues. It's not possible. Because the people in West Point, they use that is their toilet. They use the Do River to ease themselves. They don't have toilets in their homes. So that alone, based on the ordinance, we have the right to go in there and clear up all those houses. I'm just saying something. Look, listen, these are solutions that we have. How do we implement it? That's the fine print. We can now sit down and work on the fine print. So we can get someone like Gray, sell him the idea, put together the proposal, form a corporation, and go and meet and see how government can partner with us to get this thing done. I don't have a problem with that. But guess what? If I don't get it done, somebody from government can even do it and make money that their business. Guess what? As long as Monrovia is clean, my people have a clean city to live in, that is what is more important to me.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to Focus on Liberia's On Point. We will give Mr. Tulay a few minutes to close. We know that he's passionate about Liberia. Whether his passion translates into benefiting Liberia is something to see. We all have our own plans. We all have our own ideas. How do we bring this into fold to help our folks is the issue here. We all know what the problems are. Mr. Tulay, can you go ahead and close, please?
Okay, closing. Thanks to those who took up their time to be with us today. I really appreciate it. I'm reading some of the comments, and I know that a lot of you and a lot of people who listen to us, they are very smart people themselves. You know, I don't want to call names, but I've interacted with some of these guys now for the past 15 years or more, or more or less, and I know that they have ideas. Mr. Gayman, my point to you is this: it's not just about where I am. I can criticize. I criticize Ellen, but guess what? Even on my shows in Liberia, what I did when I criticized, when I criticized about agriculture, I brought ideas about agriculture because I know the bedrock of our economic development in Liberia is agriculture investment in agriculture. I even went to the point of saying, listen, if we don't have the workforce that we can use to build the country, then let's go and bring Burkinabes and give them access to the land, open farms and give them access to the land, and it becomes a partnership where we will have some of the proceeds of the land. Okay, Burkinabes. And I said at the end of the day, it will be for our benefit as a nation because they are very strong workers, and most of the farmland they have been using are being encroached upon by the Sahara. Okay, those lands are being encroached upon by the Sahara. So as a result, they can't do farming again. The farmland, if the arable lands are reducing and they don't have water. So we can even bring Burkinabes to Liberia and give them and bring them, incorporate them into our farming plan so that we can really produce food. Guess what? Not only for the local market, but there are a lot of things: plantain, passion fruit, bananas, pineapples. These things can be cultivated and then exported to foreign markets. Liberians can do that. Look, what we buy in Moon River there, we call it tiger shrimp, the crawfish that we eat. People are cultivating these things. Those things sell for $15 a kilo. $15 1 kilo on the international market, $15 a kilo. That's just 2 pounds. $15 a kilo, 2 pounds. So if Liberians can start investing in those things, instead of taking the money and buying Tulay Magidi and buying homes in Ghana, you open major farms, you provide source of income for your people. My point is this: think Liberia. We all can monetize. We all have skills that we can sell. But what if you can't and you have an idea and you can't? And that can affect things nationally. And I will say this to you again. There are certain things in Liberia that you can do from an individual perspective. There are certain things if you don't have the government's partnership, the government's acquiescence, the government agreement, you're wasting your time. So people like you can be able to knock doors and open. For me, they see me as an opposition. All of them block me on Facebook. Most of them not my friends. Kalasco, someone like Kalasco used to stand outside the studio while I'm on air. When I finish, he waiting for me. Kalasco, that beyond George Weah, he used to be standing outside my studio waiting for me when I'm on air. And when I come outside, Kalasco is there. Okay? He will bring me all the tidbits from the Salif government people then who will be reporting me into NSA and stuff like that. Kalasco will come and talk to me. Kalasco blocked me on Facebook because I criticized and I said George Weah is unfit. Maggie and Tulay are thieves. They're not doing well for Liberian people. Mr. Gayman, I'm saying this to you today. We will be back on Sunday on Point. We want to encourage all our viewers to be back here with us again on Sunday at 4 o'clock. We'll be talking issues that are pertinent, germane to the growth and development of our people. But what I want to say to Mr. Gayman is this: Liberia is greater than our monetary gains. We need to advance ideas that can be used by others, maybe not the entire stuff, but can be incorporated. Another thing that we have to do as a nation is we must sit at the table of brotherhood to determine where we want to go as a people. Because as a nation, it is shown to me that we don't have an idea where we are going. We're just living.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Tulay. In closing, you heard Mr. Tulay. He's obviously championing the causes of the CPP and the opposition. There may be wild allegations, people building homes in Ghana, the government killing people with not an iota of truth or no evidence, but they go out and throw these things. They're throwing dirt and hoping that something will stick. But I want to thank the Honorable Dr. President Bekube George Oponweah for being a visionary, a man who decided to take on the United States in the form of an octopus from the private sector to Washington, D.C., to Detroit, to Miami, wherever the industry, the private industry is willing to listen. And the tone that they brought to the United States is Liberia is open for business. And if Liberia is open for business, those pillars in our developmental plan, it says tourism, So Florida is the best place to go. And we are talking about creating jobs, factory, building factories. So Detroit, talking to the automobile industry and people who build factories to employ people in large numbers. So when the president sent his men and women to the United States, they came to attack on multiple areas. And according to the paper today, you can see that the government of Liberia has succeeded in every way. They have established the foundation, they have the promises. Now they are going to water what they have planted. The seed is now going to germinate. We are going to see investors. Now we know very well, and one particular point that the government made to the United States that was salient is that a year and a half of our administration was taken away by the pandemic. And the United States understands that yes, even the United States came to a standstill for a year and a half. So that affected Liberia. George Weah, President Weah, been in power going on 4 years, little over 3 years. Half of the 3 years were taken away by the pandemic. And yet and still, the president has been able to keep this thing going. And within the next year, before 2022-23, you are going to see massive development, infrastructure development, economic development, social change in Liberia. And I want to be very thankful to the government. Mr. Tulay, thank you very much for being here, and continue your advocacy. Continue. Hopefully, the opposition will listen to you to be rational. Other than that, they are headed for a first round massive defeat 2023. God bless you. As always, as we end our show, we say we are all Liberian. Thank you, and see you next Sunday.
All right.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.